Okay.
Maybe I will write it in the group.
I'm sure that they're informed. Yes, they will be joining probably shortly.
Okay.
So let's get started. Well, welcome to week 3, and this week we are going to discuss social media. So last week we have concluded introduction to media literacy and definition of media literacy. And you guys had end of the month assignment, which was lead discussion. Some people contributed to discussion actively in our Telegram group, while some others kind of missed the deadline and emailed me their discussion posts. So we have received quite a few posts. I'm sure that in upcoming lead discussions, you guys will be more active and you will be contributing more frequently. Still, thank you for your opinions and for your, let's say, shared experience regarding fake news. And I can see that you are already media literate in terms of realizing if the news is trustworthy or fake. So we have concluded this topic, and I'm sure, I hope that you are writing your reflections as well. And today we are going to start a new chapter on media literacy. One of the most controversial, maybe most interesting topics, which is social media. So before moving to the social media, you should be informed that there are two types of media, traditional media and social media. In our very first sessions, we have discussed what is regarded as traditional media. So traditional media is traditional formats of media. So media that appeared before internet and social networking. So it's basically printed version of any media, newspapers, magazines, flyers, advertisements, and etc. So they are regarded as traditional media. We will focus on traditional media at the end of our workshop in our English corner. And throughout this session, we will be discussing social media to more extent. So what is social media? So before I define it, before we read and discuss the definitions, I'm sure that you have something to say. So Camila, it's going to be two-way communication today. So please, can you express your ideas? What do you think is social media for you?
The social media is just a tool of communicating and sharing with your friends. Okay. It's like you are talking, but you're done for meeting your friends, but you're just sharing your experience or the things that happen with you, your thoughts.
Okay.
Just a platform to share, like.
Good. So it's a tool for sharing and tool for communication. You give very good, important points. So communication and sharing. Yes, they are important aspects of social media, but actually social media is more than that. So, well, according to public definition of social media is variety of activities online, which integrates technology and encompasses social interaction, as you mentioned it as communication, through the construction of words, pictures, videos, audios, and etc. So social media is the type of media that promotes interaction. That's why it's called social media. So it helps people socialize on online platforms, to interact with each other, and of course, to communicate and to share. Well, today, perhaps social media is everywhere. It's basically in every house, in every device. I'm sure that even most social media illiterate person use at least one platform or application in their daily lives. Now, it's impossible to imagine our lives without social media. So in the gadget-filled homes that we experience in the 21st century, social media is actually taking up more space and time in our lives than actual communication or real-life communication. So social media is becoming the biggest platform for communication biggest platform for sharing and interaction. So, is this for an advantage, or does it have a disadvantage? Is it good that we are relying on social media more and more? So, what are the, let's say, pros and cons of social media? Today, we are going to discuss them. Well, social media used to be a trend. People used to follow it because it was modern, it was something new, but it's no longer a trend. Now it has become a fundamental marketing technique, a platform for buying and selling, a platform for offering and accepting, a platform for sharing and resharing, a platform for communicating and integrating. So, with the development of internet communication all around the world, today there are many types of social media, namely the internet communities, social communities, well, browsers, wikis, video hostings, social networking websites, interactive applications, well, blogs. So all those types of media now serve social purposes, the purpose of communication. And that's why it has become social media. Now, what do you do on social media? On the screen, you can see some of the most frequent activities that social media users usually, let's say, operate on online platforms. They do search things, they blog, they share, they chat, social networking, sharing and posting and commenting, and playing games. So they are one of the, this list is common activities that's undertaken by most of the social media users. But I'm sure that social media use can be more than this. So, question, Camila, have you ever used social media on other purposes than shown on the screen?
I think no. I mostly share. How I can say, a little scared of social media because anything you post, it will save.
Okay, yeah.
And even if you delete, maybe it's saved somewhere. So I'm a little bit scared of that. That's why I don't post a lot of things. I just share some funny videos or some educational videos.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, yes, they are the basic activities that most users undertake. But other than this, you can enlarge your clientele, you can sell, you can buy, you can offer services. So you can do lots of things by social media. Now, influencers are one of the growing tendencies in social media and etc. But those six are actually the main activities why we download and enter social media networks on the first place. So we search for information, we post our experience in the form of blogs, vlogs, picture logs, we share our thoughts, the things that we think important, we chat with friends and strangers. We do social networking. We create a profile and we make friends. We play games. So those are the basic reasons why people use social networks for. Now, social media has different aspects that we should be aware of if we would like to be media literate. In the first place, social media has content. It has texts, it has graphs, photos, podcasts, videocasts, and etc. And of course, all of the aspects serve purpose. So there is a purpose of communication, collaboration, connecting, completing, and combining. So who are involved in social media? Who are on social media? The answer is every layer of society. So people of any given category. It can be young people, it can be elderly, it can be leaders, workers, customers, stakeholders, anyone who has access to internet connection. So social media is seen as means for social networking, for discussion, for sharing, for media sharing, for wikis, blogs, microblogging, mashups, bookmarking, and others. And there are some features of social media that has to be taken into consideration. Openness. Social media as a platform for opening up. Participatory, which means that people participate actively in social media. It's user driven. So there are tendencies that are supported by users survive on social media. Interactiveness. So there are more than one type of communication available. You can chat, you can video chat, you can message, you can email, and etc. But there is a negative aspect of uncontrollability, which means that social media is sometimes out of control. Velocity. It's very speedy. It's changing. The new types of social media are appearing day by day, and it's constantly growing, reshaping, reframing itself, and becoming something new. Real timeness. Social media is, let's say, based on real time in a virtual world. So basically, social media is another existing parallel universe that usually people of 21st century live. Like we live double lives. We live real life and we have virtual life on social media. And this part of our lives, social media is becoming even more stronger. And for some people, it's taken up more space than even real life. Well, so what did social media change? So when we had traditional media, we usually had monologue. Social, traditional media, printed, published information, and the audience was receiving this information. So it was like a monologue. There was information, graphs, images posted and published. So one side telling the story, another side passively receiving it. With the introduction of social media, this monologue communication changed into a dialogue. Now people do not only receive information, but they have a chance to comment on the information. They can share this information. They can collect likes. They can, let's say, conduct surveys. They can actively participate in this media. So that's why now it's a dialogue rather than a monologue. While traditional media promoted monologue communication, social networking is allowing us a dialogue, even a group interaction, worldwide interaction to a greater scale. Now, as the democracy is the highest target of every civil society, well, it should be noted that with the introduction of social media, people came 2 steps closer to democracy because it's a platform to be heard. Anyone can express themselves on social media. Anyone can post their social issues. So it's a place where voices are not silenced. It's a place where different people with different backgrounds can make their voices heard. So perhaps in comparison with the traditional media, social media is a tool for democracy as well. Those aspects make social media unique and vital in our social life. But is everything positive with social media? Are there any dark sides of social media? Of course, yes, there are. Though social media is the newest form of communication, It promotes dialogue, it promotes democracy. There are lots of traps in social media. It happens that sometimes it limits our privacy. So by posting without realizing, we are becoming public property. Our thoughts, our pictures, and our ideas are becoming spread among general public, which can be scary sometimes. Another risk is social media can promote ideology or opinions of certain layers of society only. And social media can serve a purpose that we wouldn't be willing to serve. So it can be controlled by power groups. These are probably the dark sides or the disadvantages of social media. So while it's impossible to totally remove social media from our lives, as it helps us a lot, it promotes dialogue, it helps us to express ourselves, it helps us to create and share. We have to be aware of both pros and cons of social media. Now, there are 5 types of users on social media. The first type is producer. So producers of social media are people who are creating content. It can be images, it can be audio, video, any type of media that is being created. So producers usually create media and then they put it in social networks for other people to receive, to consume this media. Next type of user is commentators. Well, usually all of us can be 2 or 3 types of users at the same time. We can be producer and we can be commentator as well. So commentators usually comment feedback on posts. So they are active participants of media promotion. Next is gatherer. Gatherers are usually platforms like Facebook, Twitter. They try to gather interesting content that can, let's say, attract comments and commentators. So they are gatherers. And of course, joiners help you to join 2 or 3 types of platforms together. For example, let's say a device through which you can automatically share content on different platforms at the same time. And of course, observer. Analysts, social studies specialists, they can analyze posts, they can analyze people's comments, opinions, and make judgments about the tendencies that are growing or outgrowing in our society. So those are the basic types of media users in social media. We should pay attention that social media is mostly about communication and interaction. So it's about conversations. And the best communicators start as the best listeners, which means that if you are a commentator for some time, you grow up to be a producer because you get involved, you see how it's done, and you change your type of user. So at one time, at any given time, any user can carry out more than one function. So users can be combined. They can be producing, commenting, joining, and observing at the same time. Well, now, there is a very interesting idea or theory called bandwagon. This picture symbolizes this bandwagon. Have you guys ever heard of this theory? Actually, it's a philosophical theory called bandwagon theory. And social network is following this bandwagon. Do you have any idea what is bandwagon and what is lying behind this bandwagon theory? You may unmute yourselves and express your opinions, or you may type in the chat if it's more comfortable.
Well, as I know the explanation of the word, it's kind of joining others.
Okay.
So maybe it's like having the trend and others will follow it,
Very
or
good.
having
Very good. You
yeah.
are taking a right direction. Sure. Yes. Thank you, Camila. Yes, sure. Bandwagon is actually people, behaviorists have suggested this theory that people tend to pick up behaviors, tendencies, activities that other people are doing. So if someone is doing it, it means that other people are going to try it because people are doing it. So let's do it. People are doing it. In simple words, this is what bandwagon is. So social media is bandwagon because our friends are there. So we see them on Instagram and we start asking, well, let's get Instagram because my friends are there. We don't really judge if we need this platform or not, if it serves our purposes or not. But we are attracted to social media because it's kind of a bandwagon. All interesting people are there. Hop on, jump, and let's go. Otherwise, you will be left behind. So this is kind of a worldview now taking up the psychology of young people, especially. So before jumping onto the social media bandwagon, we have to be aware of cons of social media. We have to be aware of risks induced by social media. And we have to judge and analyze every type of social media. Do I really need this social media? Or am I just following it because it's a bandwagon, because everyone is doing it? Or do I really need it in my personal and professional life? These are the questions to ask from yourself before you download any type of social media. Now, we are going to take a look at some of the important and most widespread social media platforms. The number one would be for sure with the logo of letter F that everyone knows, that's Facebook. So a product of company named Meta, Facebook is probably the number one social networking site in the world with the, let's say, ever-growing number of followers, and it has the widest audience in the world. Now, what can you do on Facebook? I'm sure that you can teach me on this. You can message, you can share media, you can create events and groups, and you can use applications. It's a multi-dimensional conversation platform. Now, just some quick facts about this platform. First of all, there are over 400 million active users on Facebook, and 70% of them are outside of the United States. Why is it important? Because this platform is based on United States, right? Now it's a global platform, not belonging to any nation anymore. So there are over 20 million fans of pages daily, and an average user spends 55 minutes on Facebook per day. Personally, I'm sure I spend more than this because I have groups to, let's say, to activate. I have interesting things going on the homepage. So as an average user, I can say that I spend even more. That's just one personal example. So on the average, it's 55 minutes for an average user. And around 50% of active users log on every day. So can you imagine how many people are spending their days on Facebook? Facebook is mostly accessed by a lot, quite a lot, right? Camila, asking about you, if you use this platform, what is your average daily use of Facebook? How many minutes or hours approximately?
It's not my favorite app, social media app, So I used like 10 minutes only to read some news on потребитель
Great.
УС, or ЖКХ, как с ним жить, some kind of groups
Okay,
that I'm interested in.
great. Yeah, you are one of the rare people. What about you, Nigora? What is your daily average of Facebook use?
Well, honestly speaking, I don't use this platform because, as we all know
Really?
nowadays, yeah, Instagram and Telegram are more common than Facebook.
Hmm?
As I'm not very formal girl, I do not use Facebook many times. Only 3 or 4 times a week, maybe.
I see. Thank you. Yes, there is a research conducted by USAID which says that Facebook is more popular among professional people in Uzbekistan, while young people prefer Telegram, Instagram, and TikTok. Sure. So you should know that this is the platform which has the most numbers, the most professional people, and the most money spent on advertisements, which means that it's a powerful place. Well, next one is YouTube. I'm sure that all of us are on YouTube. We at least watch something on YouTube. Well, actually, it's a platform that's active 24 hours a day. Every minute, there is a new video being posted from all corners of the world. So it exceeds 2 billion views per day. So 2 billion views to videos, that's a powerful number. An average user spends 15 minutes on YouTube, while there are hundreds of millions of videos watched on mobile devices. This is content, this is media, and this is media that is shared with people. That's the media that which content will affect people, which will change their worldviews. So as you can see, it has such, let's say, infinite power when spending information. Next one is Twitter. Though not very famous in Uzbekistan, Twitter is very famous worldwide. Usually politicians, people with influence, and people of class tend to use Twitter. 40 million active users, 106 million registered users, and there are more than 55 million tweets one day. So actually, Twitter is the place where you can find out about news first. So daily newspapers don't offer you this chance. Something happens in the world, in 30 seconds, it's on Twitter. So it's a place for fast shared information. Next one is, I'm sure that we all know this, social network, or maybe no, because it's still not famous among young people. It's for professionals, it's called LinkedIn. So it's the place for searching for jobs, offering jobs, getting recommendations from your colleagues. So it's a professional network of almost 70,000 registered users. And it's equally famous among both genders, among males and females. Usually people over 18 years use LinkedIn, while active users are even over 25. So it's a professional network. Now, generally, social media is usually accessed over mobile phones nowadays. 47% browse social media networks, and 34% chat on social media, and 33% post photos and forward items. So this is what people do on social media mostly. Searching for information, chatting, posting, and sharing. So these are the main things, percentages that's collectively presented what people do on social media. Now, the information on the screen is about Uzbekistan. As you can see, according to 2019 survey, Uzbekistan was among the top consumers of social media in Central Asia. According to the survey, population of Uzbekistan tends to use Facebook more than other apps. Instagram has reached its popularity very, let's say, quickly in the past few years, and now it has almost the same quantity of users as Facebook in Uzbekistan. Russian websites of Kontakte or Odnoklassniki, they are still famous among some people, and Twitter is less famous. About fast messaging or quick messaging apps, Viber is the least famous one. WhatsApp is used for um, only for some people. Around 23% of population use it, while Telegram is used by 97% of survey participants, making it the top quick messaging application in Uzbekistan. Also, if we compare the results of this survey with our bordering countries like Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Kazakhstan, you can notice that Uzbekistan scores higher on online streaming. And of course, it has one of the highest numbers in analytical reporting, news reporting. So Uzbekistan is top consumer of media, social media in Central Asia. What does it say? It says that our people are becoming more and more socially engaged on media. Is it good? Sure, it is. But does it have any drawbacks? Becoming socially active on social media is a good way of communication, there is no doubt, but there are certain risks. What do you think? What kind of risks are induced by these numbers, especially for young people of Uzbekistan? So, as your age, as our participants are mostly young people, what do you think this growing use of social media in Uzbekistan brings drawbacks? Does it bring any drawbacks, and what kind of risks can be expected?
Well, I think first reason of its unuseful side is, I think we can take fake messages from social media many times and many tricks from other people. For instance, recently I also have faced such kind of problem that a woman from another country wanted to know my credit card number. Then I gave my extra credit card number that I never used. Then I sent a minority of money to it. Then she suddenly no she how can I say, got my money. And it was really bad that if I gave my own daily usage credit card, she will use my money as a bad way.
Thank you.
So
Very good.
mhm.
Thank you. Sure. Yes, that's called financial fraud, right? People
Yeah, sure.
always frauding you with financial means. Very good. Okay, it has economical effects, as you mentioned, and fake news. So again,
Yeah.
information war. Yes. Thank you. What
Yes.
else induced? Camila, do you have some other ideas?
Yes. Well, I believe for the young people like me, maybe some can take something bad from that. For example, TikTok is now is really popular, and some challenges are really harmful. And we read on the news a lot that one guy he wants to film TikTok, but he, for example, try to um, make a video while train was coming to him, like show how cool he is. It can be
Yes.
dangerous because kids don't understand. Not teenagers sometimes do really crazy things just to show up, flex.
Yes, sure. It's funny and sad at the same time, right? So young people will be affected by misbehavior targeted by this content. So it leads to public unrest. It leads to people, let's say, picking up bad habits, putting their physical and mental health under risks. So you have mentioned most aspects of, um, let's say, disadvantages posed by social media development in Uzbekistan. In our upcoming sessions, we will be addressing them. We will be finding solutions for these social media induced issues in our country. Now we had general introduction to these issues. And now what about you? So you can now take the floor and tell us a few words about what social networks do you use, how much time do you spend on a daily basis on them, which one you prefer, and why. So it's about your preferences regarding social media. Please, Nigore.
Well, in my phone, there are so many apps that are socially interact me always. For instance, Instagram, YouTube, Telegram, and other. Yes, there are also Twitter, Facebook, but I less use them. For me, if I'm not mistaken, I use my phone for social medias about 6 or 7 hours a day. It's really, really bad. Even
Big
my
number.
brain, yes, even my brain can explode sometimes because of uh, information from social media.
Oh, so
I don't
Nigore,
know.
just sorry to interrupt you, but the question. So why do you think that you know that it's risky, that your mind is exploding, but why do you still use it for so many time? What are the traps? What are the things that make you use social media for so many hours a day?
So I don't know also why I use very lot these apps. I think I have been addicted to them, like caffeine maybe, and so on. But I always try to do detox, digital detox. If you know that, a digital detox, I
Hmm?
always try to do because it helps me to be away from social medias. And now I'm also trying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you're here, right? Protecting
Yes.
yourself from, yes, media
Yeah.
induced risks. Okay, thank you. What you have mentioned is actually habit formation. Sometimes using social networks quite for a long time will form habits in you. So we know people who tend to wake up and in the first place open their, let's say, telegrams. Or we have people who come to work and start checking their emails. They have formed this habit. Even if there is no necessity, they will do it because now it's a part of their day. It's a habit. It's just like morning coffee or something. So yes, we form habits. When social networking becomes habit, it would be very difficult to get rid of it. So Camila, what are your apps and which one you prefer and how many hours do you spend on them? So do you think you can control them or they are controlling you?
I mostly use them when I'm bored or to just, yes, when I'm bored, like, and I want to see some drama, I use Twitter because there's some funny or I know people judge each other. For example, yesterday Elon Musk tweeted some tweets about Russian-Ukraine war, and people were mad. I use mostly Twitter, I would say Telegram to chat with my friends, and Instagram, and just mostly when I'm bored. Like I don't have some intention, just to spend some time,
Okay,
relax, kind of.
thank
And I think
you.
I can control it.
Great. So it's great. So this is the aim. So you should keep media under control, or otherwise it will control you. When it controls you, you will become uncontrollably involved in social media, which is not a good habit. Great to hear that some people have already shaped their habits that they can control, they can limit their use of social networks, they can make the most benefit out of it. Great. Thank you for your ideas. Now we have arrived to English Corner. So today we mostly discussed about social media, why we use social media, what types of users we have in social media, what are the benefits of social media, and what are the drawbacks of social media. Thank you for contributing in session discussions. We had really interesting, let's say, opinions on the side of participants that really make sense for today's topic. We talked less about traditional media. You are going to listen a video, uh, let's say, small part of our English improvement video regarding traditional media. You will get some information on traditional media, and at the same time, you will learn some keywords to use about traditional media and social media. So now spend 3-4 minutes on this video.
Hello. In this video, we're going to answer the question.
So guys, is it audible for you? Can you hear it?
Yes, sure.
Thank you, because sometimes we have technical problems. I play the video and it's not audible. So now please watch it.
Hello. In this video, we're going to answer the question, what is traditional media? In order to develop media literacy, we need to recognize the types of media that are around us. We're going to talk about the different types of traditional media, the differences among them, how much it costs to make traditional media messages, and how that cost is often paid with advertising. We use the word traditional to talk about things that have been around for a long time. So traditional media is the types of media that have been used since before the internet and mobile phone technology were developed. In other words, traditional media includes television, radio, print such as newspapers or magazines, mail, and outdoor messages. There are many differences among the types of traditional media, including speed of information, amount of information, and audience. First, the speed of information, how fast each type of media can get information to people. Television and radio can talk about events right as they happen, while newspapers and magazines are slower because they have to be printed and then moved to different places, such as a newsstand or the mailbox of a home, before people can read them. Another difference is the amount of information that can be given in these different types of traditional media. For example, outdoor messages such as billboards or advertisements on buses can contain only a small amount of information. Newspapers and magazines, on the other hand, can give readers a lot of detailed information. It's also important to think about the audience, or who uses these different types of traditional media, and what their reasons might be. Some people, for instance, might be more likely to use magazines or television, and they may want to learn about entertainment, sports, or fashion, while other people might be more likely to use newspapers or radio if they are more interested in learning about the news. One thing that all the forms of traditional media have in common is the cost. Traditional media messages are very expensive and complicated to create. If you want to create a media message for television, for instance, you need to work with a lot of special equipment and people with technical skills. Even something simple like an advertisement on a taxi must be created and printed by professionals. Typically, only powerful companies or governments have the necessary money and employees to make effective traditional media messages. That's why advertising is such an important part of traditional media. Remember, advertising is the messages that are created about products for sale. Many of the messages we see in traditional media are advertising messages. Think about television commercials that show medicine or food products you can buy, or colorful pictures in the newspaper that show clothing you can buy. And even other traditional media messages, such as news or entertainment programs, will often feature advertising before or during the programs. That's because the cost to produce these programs was paid for by advertising companies. It's important to understand that many of the messages we see in traditional media, both advertising and other programs, are paid for by advertising companies. Why is this important? Remember, thinking about who produces media messages and why they produce them is absolutely necessary to develop media literacy. For example, if my favorite television program is being paid for by advertising companies, how does that change or control the things I see in that program? Later in the course, we will talk more about advertising. For now, when you watch a television program or see a billboard outside, think about how much it costs to make this traditional media message. Think about the company or government that produced the message.
Okay, so this was our English corner where you have improved your English language skills a bit. I hope that it was useful. It gave you some keywords that you will need while writing reflections. So to sum up, today we talked about traditional media in contrast to social media. We mostly discussed social media as a social phenomenon, who are the users in social media, what are the advantages of using social media or benefits, what are the drawbacks, and of course, we shared some informational statistics about social media use in Uzbekistan. In our upcoming sessions, we will be talking more about issues related to social media and their solutions. So for today's session, you guys will have a little homework of reflection again. I hope that every session, right after the session, you are writing your reflections and you are keeping them somewhere safe, because at the end, you will be developing a digital portfolio. Thank you for those who have contributed to the discussion last week. And in upcoming discussions, you have to be even more active. Well, discussions or presentations, you will have it only once a month. So every month, the fourth session, last session of the month, you will have either presentations or discussions. For today, it's only reflection. So just reflect on what you have learned, reflect on your use of social media, what you have understood from today's session. So in a free format, express your opinion. So this is going to be your home assignment. Do you have any questions?
I don't have any question, but this session was very useful for me. I know more about media's types and its how can I say percentage of using Instagram, Telegram, and such kind of platforms. Thank you.
Thank you, Nigor. Yes, we need to work with you a lot. If you're spending 6-7 hours on social media a day, yes, you need to be treated. I mean, you
Yeah,
have to
sure.
be more media literate. Yeah, because
Yeah,
media is tempting. It's tempting. You open your eyes and you would like to find out what's happening in the world, what your friends are
mhm,
doing. It's very much tempting. So believe it's not only you, it's happening with everyone. So we will come up with solutions together in this
yeah.
workshop. Thank you for participating.
Thank
So,
you.
well, keep up with your reflections. I will see you next time. Take a good care of yourselves.
Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Thank you for the
Okay,
Love
see you
session.
you.
next time. Thank you.